event so well represented. It's a very exciting day. Spring has just started. We're in the midst of so many renovations on campus, so this is truly marking a special day, but really just the beginning of some really great things to come. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce our president, someone who's been instrumental behind all the growth and development here at Limestone College, and not just in athletics, but in the entire college's growth on the academic side, the endowment, and the athletic side. Let's welcome Dr. Walt Griffin.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'd like to welcome everyone to the dedication ceremony for Saints Field, which will be the home field not only to Limestone men's and women's lacrosse, but also men's and women's soccer and field hockey. A big thank you goes out to the members of the 2000 men's lacrosse championship team. They raised collectively $100,000 to secure the naming rights for this field. Originally, we planned on changing the name of the field to Field of Champions to honor that particular group. But very unselfishly, they insisted that the name remain Saints Field to honor every Limestone College athlete who has played on this field. We're very appreciative of that. Saints Field, of course, now has a turf surface. It has lights so we can play evening contests. And of course, maybe best of all, we have the wonderful Bob Campbell Fieldhouse here, which provides locker room facilities for nearly 500 of our student athletes. The members of the 2000 men's lacrosse team provided one of the greatest thrills in the history of Limestone College sports when they defeated the heavily favored CW Post team 10-9 in the national championship game at the University of Maryland. This was the first of 3 national championships for Limestone, the other 2 of course coming in 2002 and last year in 2014. I was very privileged to share that 2000 national championship experience, and I remember it as if it were yesterday. I remember how no one outside the Limestone lacrosse family thought you had any chance to win that game. I remember riding on the bus with you to the national championship banquet and watching the classic and inspirational film Hoosiers, which of course is the story of a small Indiana high school whose basketball team, against all odds, won the state championship. I remember going into the stadium and hearing comments such as, "Limestone, you don't even belong here." 2 hours later, those same voices were strangely quiet. I remember the psychological impact of Limestone's first goal by Ricky Matthews a few seconds into that game. I remember the stellar defensive effort that quelled a final comeback attempt by CW Post and sealed the victory for Limestone. I remember the great victory photograph of that 2000 team, which to this day proudly hangs in the president's office here at Limestone. And I remember receiving the great honor of having a championship ring, which will always be one of my prized possessions. It's wonderful to see so many of the 2000 team back with their families here on campus 15 years later. Time certainly flies. Thank you, fellows, for your generous contributions to the new Saints Field. And thank you for the memories and for what you did to establish Limestone Lacrosse as one of the top programs in the nation, a tradition which continues today. Now let's go all out and cheer the great Limestone College 2015 team to a victory today over Lake Erie. Go Saints!
I'd like to introduce one of our captains who's here today, as we have a number of members of the team back, but a champion lacrosse player, an outstanding student athlete, and a professional lacrosse player is here with his family today. Let's welcome Jake Lawson.
Hello everyone. My name is Jake Lawson and I'm happy to be here today. Very honored, privileged to see everyone again, so thank you very much. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years, but I first want to congratulate the current and reigning champions, the Saints, as national champions last year. It's hard to believe 15 years has gone by so fast, and I think back about what brought everyone here to Limestone campus so many years ago, and it's much for the same reasons you're all here today. But we think back about all the different places we came from, the high schools we came from, and what brought us here. But the cool thing about it was, for whatever reason we got here, we all have a common goal. And on the lacrosse team, we were here to win games week to week, but our mission and objective for coming here was to win a national championship. Very proud to be a part of that. As I think back about all the things that we did, we spent every day together on and off the field, weekends, road trips, parties, Thanksgivings, holidays, and all that good stuff. But we really became a family. And on May 28th, 2000, that there's nothing that family wouldn't have done for each other. And I'm really privileged and honored to be a part of that national championship team. I want to thank Dr. Griffin and the college for all the support, the coaching staff for sure, and all of our family for the support to be here. And wish the very best of luck for the game today and the team to go on and win many more championships. So thank you very much for being with us.
Brief. I'd like to thank our supporters, Dr. Griffin, CR, Brenda Watkins, the Reeling family, Dr. Charles Cunning, tremendous supporters of lacrosse and all the Limestone sports back in 2000 and continue to be friends and supporters. The coaches, Chris Fennessy, Mike Sessa, Bill Malone, Ryan Lanigan, John Donahue. The fundraising team that put this together, Chris Fennessy, Bill Malone, Adam Rands, and the event, Amber, Anthony, Mike Smith, Shelby Wolf. Tremendous, making this something special, just not for this team, but for all the Limestone athletes. In 2000, the team was considered really a Cinderella story, but as far as the lacrosse world was considered, but it was really the foundation of a much more successful group. That team had 6 All-Americans on it, 2 first-teamers, 5 professional lacrosse players. One of them moved on to a 10-year career in the National Lacrosse League and a World Championship in Colorado. And today, these young men are successful teachers, coaches, law enforcement, businessmen, and most of all, husbands and fathers. But for all of Limestone, they were trailblazers. Trailblazer is someone who goes where no one has gone before and leaves a path. Well, this team left a path of success for the rest of the Limestone teams. We've had over 25 NCAA appearances since that first one in a multitude of sports. Over 25 conference championships since that national championship. Saints Field alone will be named in honor of one championship team, but it's to recognize and honor all the great fans and teams that play on it. Already, Saints Field has hosted an NCAA Southeast Regional victory in men's soccer, NCAA games in women's lacrosse, conference playoff games in women's soccer, an ECAC title in field hockey. 4 of the 5 teams that play on this field and call it home are currently nationally ranked in the top 10 in NCAA Division II. Saints Field is truly a home of champions. Our work is not done. In Phase 2, we'll continue to develop this athletic complex. There will be a football practice facility. There will be a second full field. There will be a softball field, expanded parking, and stands for all our supporters and fans. Congratulations again to the 2000 Men's Lacrosse Championship team as student athletes and as championship alumni. And truly, this will be a field of champions moving forward for all our student athletes. Thank you. Forward the members and coaches of the 2000 team to unveil the Rock. Limestone has always had the traditional nickname of the Rock, and now it'll permanently be Saints Field and honored on the Rock here. Gentlemen, please pull it back. I present you Saints Field. Thank you for attending today, and to all the wonderful student athletes and fans and supporters we have here. Let's come back and support our baseball team, our lacrosse team, and cheer them on to victories today. Thank you and enjoy this beautiful spring day.
You're just
Yeah, it's okay. I love it. Don't worry. Come on, you guys hold that.
That was nice.